Yeah.
You want to do it something like jump on your shoulders?
What?
Or you don't like off your shoulders.
Sure.
Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of Live Today Like It Matters. This episode is about another stay that we had at 1,000 Trails Campground.
Yes. So when planning this trip, we knew we were going to stop at two places. We had two destinations. One was Lake Gadsden, which we talked about last week.
Right, go check it out if you haven't seen it.
And Georgia to visit family. And we had a specific time frame we needed to be in Georgia.
Yeah.
And so what we did is we pulled up the 1,000 Trail campgrounds and we looked to see which campgrounds were en route to Georgia. And we like to go about 2.5, 3.5, maybe 4 hours tops on drive days.
We found that to be a comfortable, usually ends up being around 3.5, 4 hours. We could do more, but it was just a comfortable drive day for us if we can choose that. So if we have a destination to go to, we'll find places along the route to kind of break it up as opposed to a long day.
So sometimes we have destination spots, and sometimes the places that we're staying are en route to destinations. And that's what this campground ended up being for us, is a en route to destination. So It's a travel stop. Okay, so 1,000 Trail campgrounds. So several of our friends have been asking why we have been picking these particular campgrounds. And it's something that we looked into in our Facebook groups that we're in. We've seen people talk about them. And it's actually a membership campground, like a network. And so we looked into it, and we actually have what's called a camping pass. And so for a whole year, we can try out campsites in one particular zone. The zone that we picked out was the southeast, and we can actually add on other zones as we need them.
Yeah, and there's a lot of zones. There's other parts to the package. There's things that you can add, and those will all affect the price. We'll throw some information about 1,000 Trails and all that in the description below. Check it out. But we're still experimenting and learning as to see what our needs, meet our needs, things that we do need and don't need, and so on and so forth. So we'll be sharing that as we continue to learn ourselves what things we like and don't like. And that's what this is partly about, is each place we go, we also kind of do a review of the park or the campground.
And the amenities.
And the amenities that they are providing, the things we liked and disliked, the layout. And so anyway, yeah.
One of the things that we're learning is checking into different campgrounds. And COVID has kind of made things a little different. Some people want you to check in online, and some people want you to check in there, but they might not be there when you check in. And so for 1,000 Trails, pretty much the ones that we've been to has been pretty the same. They've got like a little house, and they have a box in case you check in. When somebody's not in the box, there's like a little telecom.
Yeah, and that can also be when you get there. I mean, if you get there earlier, then you might be there. In this case, we were there, I think, about closer to 5 or a little after, and so they'd already left. But they were still around the corner.
They hadn't put our information in the box yet.
Yeah, because they said check the box, and we checked the box, and there was nothing. So like, so we were able to call over like a radio, like Sarah said, and then they just told us they let us through, and they came around the corner to the main office. And we got checked in, but that is something that twice. It was kind of a little weird at first as we went. There's nobody there, and we had to just basically open a box, and there's a little radio, like walkie-talkie thing that you had to talk into.
We actually had to Google it. How do we check in at 1,000 Trails?
It wasn't very clear at first, so we figured that out. But
so one of the things that came up when we got to Forest Lake, 1,000 Trails, that's the campground that we're talking about in this video, is the first come first serve policy. So you make reservations at 1,000 Trails, but they don't assign you a site. So the sites are actually first come first serve. And so the campgrounds are kind of dated.
Yeah, they can be. It depends. There's some certain features, like a community center might be really nice, but then some of the other things are kind of are run down a little bit, or some of the bathhouses are better than others.
Or you might have 30 amp instead of 50 amp.
Yeah, they have 50 amp, but I don't know if it's consistent along the board, but they tend to be a little bit, have less 50s than they do 30s. So those, as we learned, are first come, first serve.
And some charge you extra for 50 amp.
Yeah, one place charged like $6 extra, I think, a day for the 50 amp. So that's something to keep in mind. We thought at Forest Lake that we were going to have 50 amp, and when we got there, she said that she had no more 50 amps and only had 30s left. So just be aware, that's something that we were kind of like, really? But then we realized, okay, and we made it work. But something we thought we were going to have, but there again, first come means first come, first serve. So.
And as new RVers, we're learning a lot about what our preferences are. I think it's safe to say that we like full hookups with 50 amps.
Full hookups is great because you can run everything without worrying and thinking about it.
You can run both air conditions.
Yeah, and you're not having to use the bathhouse if you don't want, things like that. But if you have, some places we're finding out you have to choose. Like we had to choose having a 50 amp over a septic hookup or vice versa.
So at Forest Lake, we had, it was considered full hookup.
Yeah.
We had 30 amp and we had septic hookup.
Yeah, so they had full hookups, just didn't have the 50
Did we
amp.
have septic? Did we have septic there?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
And that's what made it nice. So we just couldn't run. For us, our rig has the 2 AC units, so we just had to run one at a time.
We couldn't run the microwave or...
There's a couple things we had to be careful. Honestly, I was experimenting, and we're still getting familiar with our rig, and I could run most things, just minus the 1 AC unit. But it was okay. So that's just something we learned.
It actually wouldn't have been bad if it wasn't for the heat wave.
It did have a heat wave, and sometimes you get fortunate and get under some trees, some shade. And there was trees all around us, but like the sun rose and set, like in this section there where there was no trees. It was full sun all day, which makes it a little hotter.
There was trees in front of us, behind us, and the sun went like this.
Just right through the trees. But it worked out, and so there still was a pretty campsite.
It was pretty.
They had some nice, pretty decent layout. There again, I think we've mentioned before, even in the last episode, a lot of Thousand Trails have a lot of full-timers, or at least annual sites set up that come and go. And so I don't know what the percentage would have been of open sites versus that. I think it varies. But anyway, so we took some videos, some shots of the layout and some of the campsites.
So that was a small lake. Like the whole lake was contained in the campground.
Within it, yes.
And there were a few RV sites right on the lake, but they were taken when we got there. So we were like further back into the woods, but it was really pretty.
It was a decently laid out site, and so it wasn't too far of a walk, which we ended up just walking to the main center there. Whatever you can find, look some stones.
Only if we had that rotten shrimp.
Ew.
It would have been perfect.
No. Catch and release.
Some jumping spider had babies.
Oops.
Gosh.
All the black ones are babies. Find the ones with the white tops. Those would be adults.
Nice. What, clubhouse?
Yep. With the book.
You can see why everybody comes up here on those pull-throughs up there. Then you have access to all this laundry. The laundry's only $1.50.
Yeah. When it's open, it's only 19 before the bottom.
Yeah. Nice pool.
Over up there, they got the grills and the arcade up at that place.
So the one up there is for kids.
Yeah, but it's closed.
Not anymore.
Now they're both.
What do you do? Just cleaning it, or just not anymore?
No, now it's the high pool, no pool now.
So anybody can get on any of them?
Yes.
2 pools.
2 pools and the laundry, and the pools were really nice.
They were nice.
Usually they have like a pool for families and kids, and then one for more elderly. But in this case, they were both open to whoever.
And that's mainly because of COVID.
Yeah, I mean the numbers there weren't a lot of people there really either.
1 second.
So-
Okay, it's recording.
It was. That was really nice. Did Forest Lake have where you can do the phone app at the laundry? Do you remember?
I believe it did. Yeah, they have a lot of. It's new to me, but there's I forget the name of it right off. I might, if I think of it,
We'll
I'll
just
mention
post
it.
it. We'll put it in.
But there's an app that you can download. You
Mhm.
don't have to download the app. You can just use a card as opposed to having coins to run the laundry machine. But there's an app that works in sync with them, and you can control it by your phone and
It'll tell you how
download the
much
money.
time.
Yeah,
is
it keeps
left.
tells you how time is
Mhm.
left, and so that was nice. So I've been actually using that. This is the third now 1,000 Trails campsite with the laundry hookups that I've been using, and that was nice.
It is nice. So we did. So we checked out the campground and the amenities, but something that we found out about that particular campground that we enjoy, because we're history buffs, we love history. There's actually 2 historical sites right on the campground,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them was a pioneer cemetery.
Yeah, dating. I think I took some video there of that.
It's like 17.
I think the earliest I saw was in 1885. I think, or
Oh, no,
something
there
like
was a
that.
17.
Was there a 17? I don't.
Like 1785.
But it
I
was
think.
really cool just to see that as old as it was, you know, and to see the markings on the stones.
Number 1.
Mile 1. That was hard.
Woo, that was so hard. You walked like 2 feet.
This is mile
This is
2.
a mile walk. A mile walk?
Nope, so far
What?
already in 2 miles.
We're going to have ATVs on here.
I know. You better to drive.
Look, another wood thing. That's 3 miles. 3 miles is pretty easy.
I'm done with this, by the way.
Whoa, this is kind of interesting trail. Watch for snakes.
Yeah, Mom, I'm standing behind you. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh gosh, are you sure about this?
Nope, not at all. It could.
I don't think this is it.
This is quite the trail. Jack?
Literally, I'm closing eyes everywhere, like right there. You should be looking down.
This sucks.
It's probably in the middle of the thicket.
I'll check it through quick.
I'm wearing
I still think I was right.
in this poison ivy.
According to the map, it showed it off to the angle.
Poison ivy. I'm gonna die poison
Well,
ivy.
it wasn't angled behind the bathhouse. Oh, did you find it?
Told ya.
And nuts. Great.
Spider
This is
webs.
just great.
Jack. Really? What are we looking for? We are looking for a cemetery of a pioneer.
Also known as the rocks in the ground.
It's a
Yes, that
pioneer
was-
cemetery.
This is an old pioneer cemetery.
Don't step on the grave.
Don't step on them. That's cool. Is there anything but
There's
rocks?
one right here. I'm stepping on it. Oh, yeah, you see the
Oh,
date.
there it is.
1881, 1885. Is
Is that
you
18
need
or
a-
17?
You need a 17. You need a
Dang, that was
paper with
far.
a
Isn't that crazy? Look at that. Let me see if I can cut it out.
August.
1785.
Someone died in 1785.
This is old
It's
too.
funny that
This
Mom's
is old
stuff
picture.
is
You
over
can, as
something.
long as you don't. No, you can't do that. You can do that. You just don't step on the stone.
I know, but it's funny that Mom's
August.
literally right on.
What
Mom,
does
you're
it
on
say?
a guy who lived
14th.
She's
No. First.
fine. August.
Nope.
Something.
August 1st.
Is
So that one
him?
looks
Where's
like
the pioneer?
1785. This one. Let
Mom,
me
this
see.
is 1815.
Let me see, Katie.
Where's the pioneer? 1815.
Yeah,
Cat.
18.
Cat heart. Hope.
Cope. It's a Cope family.
1815.
1803.
Pretty neat.
This is 1803.
1803.
Yeah, 1803.
This one is 1809.
Yeah, this one's 1822.
1809. Wow. Neat, just some old stones sticking up. January is 1822. Age
That's 1822.
59, looks like.
What's this one? Dad, what's this one?
I don't know. It just looks.
Fell over.
It just fell over.
You don't have to put, that's 1811. That's a nice clear one.
Yeah, that one's the clearest
They
one.
really chiseled that one.
That one's deep.
This is all the Cope. Looks like the Cope family. But like we were saying, if Daniel Boone was in the area,
Yeah, he might have
he may have known this family.
Wait, the family died before he did?
Honey, I have no idea.
The
I
whole
was
family
just
got buried here?
maybe
The entire family.
they could have been had
It's a
their
big
their
family.
homestead somewhere around
That's a
here.
big family. 1, 2,
Well, the
3,
pole
4,
barn was
5,
theirs.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
True.
Maybe if you
Big
keep
family.
going, you'll find the
Stepping on
barn.
nuts.
Good thing you have shoes on.
How long have these been?
Stones. And then there was another
There was a
tobacco barn or
or
something.
pole barn or something.
That was also there.
That was hard to get pictures of because it was literally right between two campsites.
Yeah, it
So
has
it's
sites
kind of
all around
awkward
it.
to take pictures.
But it was pretty neat. What we also liked about the Forest Lake is it was not on, but right near the Yadkin River, which is the area that Daniel Boone grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
So there's kind of a lot of history stuff related to that
We
there.
got to talk to our children
And
about
so,
that. And
yeah, and that was pretty cool. And I don't know as far as the settlers or the pioneers and that were living there and in the related cemetery, if that was who it was, but still it was pretty cool.
one of the things that we did while we were there is we found out that our phones had night mode. And so it was a beautiful campsite for taking night photography.
Yeah.
The way that the lights lit up the lake and you had
Mhm.
gorgeous reflections. So we're going to share some of those
Playing around
pictures.
with that, and that was cool.
And it's spending time with the kids. I actually got to do my night walk with Jack, and we were just playing around. And he was able to do some like shadow arts, and we found some like wildlife and stuff at night. And I think that that's something that's been really nice about our trip is being able to have one-on-one time with the kids. I know you had one-on-one time with Katie.
Yeah,
I had a little dance
we were
party.
out. We were cooking and grilling and listening to music, and we had ourselves a little dance party and just enjoying the moment. That's what we're trying to do. And that was part of this, as we've mentioned before. Part of this trip for us is just trying to reconnect with the kids and us, and so it's been really good. It's been a help on that. We're still learning to do that. Life still gets crazy as we're RVing and we got work to do and things, but it's still helpful for us to try to take those moments and
in all reality, we all went through culture shock.
We did, and I venture to say we're still adjusting, as you'd imagine, going from our sticks and bricks home to our RV full time. But everybody's, for the most part, seems to be enjoying it, having their own adjustments and adjusting well, considering. So it's been really good.
When we were because we were watching our old footage, putting together the video at Forest Lake, we have actually footage of us working through some of our mindsets.
Yeah.
And like Victor, bless his heart, trying to find the closest Walmart or trying to find the closest Hobby Lobby because he needs some craft supplies and finding out we're in the middle of nowhere.
Bubble.
Welcome to living in.
Let's just talk about
Watch this.
ice cream and
Watch this.
only ice cream. I'll get the
Whoops.
mood up.
Right now we're checking out the woodsy part
Look at that.
of campsites. What's all those bubbles?
Hobby Lobbies.
Those are all Hobby Lobbies?
So check this out. None of them are within this 30-minute bubble.
Because usually these campsites are purposely, that's what Mom was saying, 1,000 Trails tends to find places kind of off the
See?
beaten path. I see that.
30-minute bubble right there. Nothing.
Babe,
about
what about
Walmart's?
ice cream shop?
Nope. The closest one is actually barely inside the 30-minute bubble. It's 22 minutes away. I'm like,
Babe, what about
this
ice
is
cream
great.
shops?
Oh, there's plenty of ice cream shops, Katie. Those are everywhere.
And that's something like about Thousand Trails that we didn't know is a lot of the Thousand Trails that we've been to so far, they're off the beaten path.
Yeah, they are. And there's one that we'll talk about coming up that was pretty much right off the interstate. But for the most part, all of them are good, at least a good 30 minutes or so, kind of off a main road, a
But
main
just the
highway.
ones that we've been to.
Right, the
Yes.
few that we've been to, and we're still experiencing them as we go.
Mm-hmm. And so there's pros and cons to that. The pros are connecting as a family, and then the cons are like you lose all the things that you're used to. Like
Yeah, if you needed something or you had to go, it's not just around the corner. You're gonna have to take a couple hour plus run to go get something that you might have needed. So if we can, we try to do those stops before we get to the site, so we don't have to run back out. But anyway, if it happens, it happens.
And then finding things to go see and do.
Mm-hmm.
But this particular stop was just a stop along the way. So we mainly just stayed at the campsite. But we did take a detour, and it was really hot. So we were like, okay, let's just get away for a while. And so we found a really small town nearby. I think we literally just went to go get donuts.
Well, we were looking for just something, because sometimes we like to try to find a unique, quaint place. And in this case, Lexington, North Carolina was the closest little town. So we just thought, well, let's go drive and see what we can find. We didn't know what was really there. Some stuff was coming up on the map, but it wasn't the best internet, as I recall. And so we were just like, let's just go see what we can find.
It ended up being a really cute, quaint town.
So yeah, it was a little bigger. It was a pretty cool little town, and we took some videos. Ended up finding, I think, the Red Donut Shop, is that what it's called? And it was kind of a cool place, and got a sweet treat there.
And Victor's like, said bubble tea.
Oh yeah.
And Victor's like, we've got to have some because KYD had it.
Yeah, they hadn't ever experienced one before, so they tried to try that out. So that was cool. And it's kind of a cool little town, but I think at the time of the evening that we were there, a lot of stuff was closed, so we couldn't check out some of the things. But it was still a cool little experience.
Yeah, and so they had all these pigs everywhere.
Like almost every corner, or in a plus, every they were all over the
place.
They're
all decorated. Like almost each of the different, like the courthouse and each of the different like stores had a pig in front of it. And so we looked it up, like what's the deal with the pigs in Lexington, and it's actually like a fundraiser that they do to revitalize the town. So that was really interesting. So the kids enjoyed taking selfies with some of the pigs.
They were all over in different kinds, so that was unique.
And then our kids are really into comics and superheroes, and so they saw, a comic store.
A cool little quaint comic store. You never know what you're going to find, and that's part of the adventure and the fun, is just to see what's out there. We don't always do the best at that, but we're trying to see what's right around us and kind of go take a look and see something.
But I do have to say, like with our family and our kids, we like out of the ordinary. Like it doesn't have to be like a famous landmark or a famous site.
Right.
It could be anything can intrigue us, and especially stuff that's historical. We really like that.
Yeah.
So
just something different and unique. And they're out there. There's a lot of places. Unfortunately, we're still running into a lot of places being closed or having strange hours because of COVID-19, but still we're able to find some things.
And even on the campsites that we're going to, each Thousand Trail, depending on the jurisdiction or the state, have different guidelines depending on where they're located. And so most of the Thousand Trail campsites we found do like children's activities and arts and crafts and stuff that our kids really enjoy. But the ones that we have been going to haven't been doing that because of COVID. So, so I think our personal experience is going to be different than maybe somebody's experiences last year.
Yeah, and that would change. We would tell you what it is, but it could change by the week or by the month, and by the time if you ever come through. So, and if we ever come through again, one of the sites that we'll talk about in the next episode, I think, is we end up hitting it on the way down to Georgia and on the way back. And so there's some experiences with that, but like here, or certain ones we've been to, we only hit once on the way, so to our destination. But anyway.
And then things changed by the week.
Yeah. So, but good experience. Each one has its own unique thing. So unique. Some of them have been good, but we'll discuss those as we get to those episodes. But this one being about Forest Lake, the sites were fairly easy to get into, at least the one we went to and saw. Sometimes it's been challenging. It was a little hilly, but it was for the most part, I thought it was a pretty decently laid out park.
So it works good. It worked great for us because heading down to Georgia, we had places to stay. We did not have to stay in a Walmart parking lot.
Yeah, and it broke up a long trip, and it made it a little bit more fun for us. So
being able to enjoy the journey and making every day count, because it's living today like it matters.
Yeah.
And so if we're just rushing to get to the destination, we're going to miss all the little things in between, those conversations, those one-on-one times.
Yeah. And that's a constant battle we have to constantly work through, and we're making adjustments as we go and stretching ourselves, but it's still been really good as we strive for that.
Yes.
So I think that'll wrap it up for this episode.
And next week we're going to continue on with our going towards our destination to Georgia. So next week we'll be talking about another 1,000 Trails campground in South Carolina.
Yeah, so make sure you check it out. Make sure you subscribe and hit the button there, and so you can get our updates when we post these videos, and they usually come out around Monday evening.
Yes.
What?
It's chicken and poppers and that.
Sweet. Cool. Oh, he's running around outside. So he's running around outside. Look at all this.
Dad, you like the cheese?
It was so-so.
It was intensely down.
That was Lindsay-Dale?
Yeah.
Nice.
Cheese.
What kind of cheese?
British.
Wensleydale.
So I need to make a slow-mo video. I need some action, people. Action.
Action, Fogery.